Well, the United States is the largest trafficker of children in the world. Children that are illegally kidnapped, brought across the U.S. Mexico border, are then sold off to most wealthy Americans, used as sex slaves, and worse, if you can imagine, worse than that. It's happening, and the corporate media, of course, is largely ignoring the story for whatever reason. They refuse to touch the story, and when they do, they briefly touch it, and then it disappears. You can't find links on their website. It vanishes very mysteriously when they cover these stories. Many of these kids, these children, are kept in hidden concentration camps in the United States. Yes, I said it. Hidden concentration camps in the United States. We showed you one of these facilities a few months ago here on Redacted, a Walmart facility, a former Walmart facility in Brownsville, Texas, that is holding hundreds, if not thousands, of children before they are sold off. A whistleblower who worked at one of these facilities, MVM is the name of the facility, has come forward to expose all of this. Carlos Arellano is a former U.S. immigration contractor, and he joins us now. Carlos, welcome to the show, and thank you for coming forward to share your story.
No, thank you for having me. It's like you said, when it comes to child trafficking, there's so much evil behind it that people don't want to touch the story, and if they do touch it, they touch it briefly. And it just goes to show you how much evil there is behind it, that it holds that much power over people, that it's kept in the dark.
And hopefully we can expose this story. We can shine a light on it today. So anyone watching this, hopefully you can share this story out, share it with people who can spread it around to try to put an end to this awful, awful crime against humanity that's happening in the United States and around the world. So, Carlos, before we dive into some more specifics of this, can you just give us, our audience, a background as to what exactly you did working as an immigration contractor and this company? Is it a government company relationship as a U.S. government contractor, or was it separate from the U.S. government?
So the way it works is the U.S. government is washing their hands, keeping their hands clean by going out and handing out massive contracts to organizations that they like to call NGOs, non-government organizations. And these NGOs, they will get contracts for food services, for laundry services, for educational services for the illegal immigrants. Everything under the sun that you can think of, everything that we have to pay for, they will hand out $100 million contracts to give these services for free to the illegal immigrants. And the company that I work for specifically, their job is they hold the largest contract to move children around the United States of America. So my job was to move children from point A to point B. And my job was to pick children up at the border and then move them to their sponsors. I've been to every state that you could name. I've been there. I've been to North Dakota, Vermont, Florida, dropping kids off, all of them. And New York City and Florida, the most popular ones. New York State and Florida. And the other job that I did, I've done this immigration work my whole life, but two main jobs that stick out the most is I was part of the management team. I helped ran the largest migrant hotel in New York City, the Row NYC, where I had to look over 5,000 migrants in the heart of Times Square, a block away. And my job was to, whatever these migrants wanted in New York City, whether it be spicy food, non-spicy food, or laundry services. We got laundry services for them. We had Uber services for them. If a migrant in New York City came to me and said, I want to go here in New York City, I want to go here in Brooklyn, but we're in Manhattan, my job was to get an Uber for them and things of that nature.
How did they have so much power? I mean, a migrant in New York City, was this a person responsible for the trafficking, or were these are people that had come across the border and you were providing sort of, luxuries for them? Can you explain that?
Well, the way it works is it's separate NGOs. So the one I escorted children for and the one I worked for in New York City are two separate companies. But the thing that people miss here is, for example, people think it's Governor Abbott who's sending all these people on buses to New York City. And it's not just Governor Abbott. Governor Abbott can account for like 15-20% of the people. Because if you look at the numbers that the state of Texas provides, it's about, they've bussed over about 30,000 people maybe to New York City, but New York City has about 80,000 people currently in their system. So the rest of these 50,000 people are going to NGOs like Catholic Charities at the southern border. And I think Ann talked about Catholic Charities, Ann and Michael. So Catholic bus tickets, airplane tickets, all on the federal taxpayer money to get these illegal immigrants from the border to New York City. So a lot of these illegal immigrants are finding their way through federal taxpayer money from the NGOs to get around the country. But the thing is, they want you to believe that it's Governor Abbott. Governor Abbott is busing people, but it's nowhere near the same numbers that these federal taxpayer-funded NGOs are moving people across the country.